Hey friends, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is Coda. And today's project is going to be to paint the outside of our RV, our Class C motorhome we call the Cottage.
We're actually going to paint the decals because they have become faded and cracked and other things. And the gentleman that we purchased the vehicle from had actually already done it on the other side, and it looks really good. So we're going to go ahead and do it on this side as well.
So we have to do this weekend because it is starting to get cold, and you can't paint outside once it's like below
60 degrees.
Below 60 degrees. So we've got to do it this weekend because it's starting to get cold.
All right, so what I'm doing is I am wiping the decals with alcohol, scraping off any loose edges, and then wiping them again. That's prepping it to be masked off. So I just hit it real quickly with the alcohol, and then I use this plastic razor blade that doesn't scratch the side. And you can see there's some loose edges there that I'm getting off, so I just kind of go across those edges. And I'm not looking for perfection. This is a 2004, but I do want to take a couple of precautions as I'm doing this to make sure that it at least looks decent. We're going to start masking off. We're going to mask off a section, paint, and then kind of move on from there. We're going to mask with frog tape, which is a green painter's tape, which seems to work pretty well. I think there's auto detailing tape and different things you can get, but again, it's a 2004. I just want the colors to look somewhat vibrant. I'm not looking to, have a showroom appearance coming out. All right, so I'm attempting to use some of this pre-taped painter's plastic. I've had this for a long time, and it doesn't really seem to stick really well, but because it's old. But what I'm going to do is stick it on, and then I'm going to go back over it with some of the frog tape to make sure it stays on. And then what that does is it pulls down and creates a bigger area to mask off. So I'm going to go touch up what I did right here. You can see what I've done so far. Putting that across the bottom, I was just trying it out to see if it actually worked. And it does seem to work, but this tape is not as sticky as it used to be. So I'm going to put some green tape over top of it just to make sure that it stays on. So I found some old blue tape that I had that's actually still sticky, so I'm using that because it's a little bit less expensive than using the frog tape, because frog tape is fairly expensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape over where I've masked that with the plastic. Now that we've got the actual graphics masked off, that's when we start putting the additional stuff like this to mask off the other area to keep it from getting the overspray on it. So we're going to go ahead, and now that we've got a good line to go off of, we can branch out from there to cover the area so we don't get overspray from the paint.
So while Kevin is putting the painter's wrap over the graphic, I'm going to attempt to see if this moving saran wrap will do the same thing and not require you to have to tape it all on. So we shall see. This is what it looks like, and you get it from Home Depot. It's not sticking at all. It doesn't stick at all, so that's a fail.
So I'm going to put a little bit more masking stuff up under here and kind of cover this up with a blanket. And because it's windy and different things, I'm going to get a little piece of cardboard, and I'm going to go ahead and spray this one. But before I do, I am going to take a rag with a little bit of acetone and wipe it real quick, very lightly. You need to wear gloves if you're using acetone. Otherwise, it really does burn your hands. And I'm just going to do a light little bit so it doesn't take off the other stuff. I could sand that, but that stuff is already pretty rough as it is. So, and I want this job to be quick. I don't want this to be a long drawn-out job. We're using the Rust-Oleum burgundy paint because that's what the gentleman that had it before us used on the other side, so we definitely want to make it match. Make sure that you shake the paint really well for about a minute before you use it. And today is windy, so I'm gonna have to kind of gauge where the wind's blowing from and use my little piece of cardboard to kind of keep the overspray from going that direction. Normally I would use a little piece that allows you to spray with the trigger, but in the move, since we're moving out of our house right now, I can't find it, so I have to use the old-fashioned one.
It looks so red compared to the original color. I know paint dries darker, but
it's definitely brighter than the other color that's on here right now, but it does tone down a little bit later. All right, so in a perfect world, I would have sanded this stuff. I would have used a primer, that type of thing. But really, I've had great results with just cleaning stuff with acetone and spraying it and the paint staying on really, really well. So that's what I did here. And I figured if it starts to come off, I'll just redo it and then I'll sand it and do it that way. So I really feel like this is going to stick really well. So we'll see how well it holds up, but it's definitely a lot easier than going through the whole process of sanding and priming and doing all the different things. So we'll see how long it lasts.
Now that we have the graphics painted with the spray paint, we are going to go ahead and take off the plastic on this side and the tape. Here's a tip for you as well. On the other side, we wanted to touch up some of the graphics just a little bit, and we didn't use acetone on it first, and the spray paint started to run, so make sure you use the alcohol and the acetone, especially if you're not planning on sanding it first and then priming it. So make sure you do that. You may want to consider getting some car detail tape rather than even the green frog tape, because it does leave a little bit of, you get a little bit of bleed through on it, but not bad. It still looks really good and looks a lot better. But if you did the car detail tape, you might avoid some of that. So we gave the cottage a brand new, sort of new facelift for only about $8 a can.
Yeah, and it turned out pretty good. I would recommend, if you're doing it, getting a little bit better tape. The frog tape did pretty good, but there's a little bleed through here and there, but overall I think it looks pretty good.
It looks really good, and it looks nice and fresh and no more cracked looks and things like that. So I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. So for just a little bit of work and just a little bit of money, you can give your RV a nice little facelift on the outside. So for more videos like this, you can check out our channel and click on any one of our playlists.
And if you found value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel.
And as always, doing things yourself saves you money and allows you to be free. See you in the next video.